Hi, welcome to Melissa's Money Mindset. In today's video, I'm going to be hopping back into real estate mode, and I wanted to share with you some crazy and comical real estate ventures that I've recently had. Now, some of this stuff I honestly just could not make up, but it's really taught me how to deal with tenants, how to critically think, and that things are not always as they seem. Now, I wanted to call this series Tenant Tales, and I'm hoping I can put one of these together every few months, kind of as things arise. But I wanted to preface this all by saying that I am by no means complaining. These are just some life lessons that I've had to learn the hard way in the past few months, and I thought it could be beneficial and kind of a good time to share with all of you. So if that sounds good, please do me a huge favor and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you never miss another money-making tip. Let's get right into it. So this first story happened a few months ago. So our tenants who have been with us for about 2 years now wanted to re-sign for another year-long term. And before each lease is re-signed, I personally, as the property owner, like to go and do a very thorough walkthrough just to make sure that my property is in good condition. There's not any deferred maintenance. There aren't any problems that the tenants haven't disclosed to me. And before I do my walkthrough, I always ask the tenants if there's anything that they know that needs to be addressed. And so these tenants in particular made a point of mentioning that there was a smell coming from one of the bathrooms. Not unusual. There's plenty of things that could be causing smell in a bathroom. So when I was doing my walkthrough, I made sure to pay special attention to this particular bathroom. I made sure all of the drains were working correctly. I ran the water in case any sewer smell was coming out through the P-trap. I checked for any signs of water damage on any of the tiles, on the roof, on the floor. And actually, the only thing that I could find were some mildewy towels. So I said to the tenants at that time, I really can't find a source for this smell. I'm not really smelling it very strongly at the moment, but you know what? Let's visit this again in a few weeks. And by all means, if things are not improved, let me know. And I'm more than happy to get a plumber to come out. So I didn't hear anything from these tenants for 5 weeks. So I followed up with them and said, hey, how are things going? And they said, actually, things are pretty smelly over here. So I had a plumber go out the next day, and the plumber was there for about an hour. And then I got a phone call with him laughing, which is never a good sign. So he explained to me that he went through all of the water sources as I had done. He had even gotten up on the roof of the property because sometimes I guess birds and squirrels like to crawl in some of the intakes. And if they happen to die while they're in there, that smell can kind of permeate throughout the home. He didn't see anything wrong. So he was completely baffled. He was kind of at a loss. He was walking back to his truck. And as he was walking past the exterior garage door, he said, this smell just hit me like a bag of bricks out of nowhere. He said, that's the source of the smell. So he needed to get into the garage. He asked the tenants if he could go in. They said, of course. And what did he find inside? A chest freezer, completely thawed and full of decaying meat. Decaying meat. I mean, honestly, what is happening here? In what world is that acceptable? I have no idea. So apparently this couple does like to hunt, which I know. It turns out that the outlet in the garage that the chest freezer was plugged into is on the same circuit as the bathroom that the female in that property likes to blow dry her hair in. And so one day she was blow drying her hair and she blew a fuse, which then caused the chest freezer to lose power and for all of the meat in the chest freezer to then sit in 100-degree heat. It's been so hot in Colorado this summer. So the meat was sitting in 100-degree heat for 5 weeks. I mean, I cannot imagine the smell. And also, you cannot tell me that the tenants didn't notice that. I mean, they go in their garage, they have a lawnmower in there, they park their car in there. So, I mean, what is actually happening here? So he had told the tenants that obviously they need to throw their meat away. And then me as the property owner and the property manager had to have a seemingly ridiculous conversation with the tenants that this should be your number one priority. If you have rotting meat sitting around for 5 weeks that's now permeating through the walls of a property that I own, you need to deal with that ASAP. So the meat has since left the property. But again, this is an important point to point out that things are not always as they seem. So I obviously thought this was a plumbing issue. So did the tenants, so did the plumber. And it turned out to be a very obvious and actually very unrelated issue. So if things are not what you're thinking they are, this is a good lesson to think critically, think bigger, and think outside the box a little bit to solve the problem. Now, the second and final tenant story that I have for you today is about a lovely family that has been renting one of our single family homes for the past almost 4 years now. They had gone on vacation, and when they came back from vacation, they just sent me a text that said, some of our grass has turned brown. Could you have your sprinkler guy come over and take a look at it? Absolutely no problem. Super reasonable. Our sprinkler guy went over, he found 3 leaks and he patched them. So then the tenants the following month got a bill for about $1,000 because their sprinkler system had been leaking and on the entire time that they were on vacation. So I had sent them the invoice. They sent that to the county that we live in, and they had a portion of their bill excused because the county had seen that there had been a water leak and we had paid to fix it. So part of their bill was forgiven. Another month goes by, and I get another text from the tenants saying that they got another $1,000 water bill. What the heck is going on here? And so, of course, those tenants, since they live in a single family home, they pay for all of their utilities themselves. So understandably, they're freaking out. I'm freaking out. And nobody's really sure what is causing these crazy, crazy high bills. So I tell them, you know what, just turn the sprinkler system off. Just turn it off. And let's see what happens, because we obviously need to start doing something because we cannot keep sustaining these $1,000 water bills. So in the meantime, I am trying to decide between having the sprinkler system company come back out or having a plumber come out. Sometimes toilets and faucets, they like to leak. There's a continuous leak and you don't always hear it. They're kind of sneaky like that. And those can result in really high water bills. They're kind of notorious for doing that. So I opted to have a plumber come out. They checked everything. They checked all the plumbing in the house and they ruled out any leaks inside the home. And they told me to have a different sprinkler system company come out and check just to make sure that the first sprinkler system company had done a good job. Okay, this all seems very analytical, very reasonable to me. Fine, I'll have another sprinkler system company come out to the property. So I did. And that person almost immediately called me and said, yeah, you don't have any leaks, but your tenants are running the sprinkler system 4 times a day. 4 times a day. And so I had to have a conversation with the tenants about why are the sprinklers running 4 times a day? Because I know in good conscience that the first sprinkler system company has worked for us for a long time and they surely wouldn't have set it to do that. So at that point, the tenants did confess and say, well, we thought that company had set the sprinklers to run for too long. So we took it upon ourselves to try to decrease the time that the sprinklers were running. And inadvertently, each time they were adjusting the timing of the sprinkler system, they were adding another sprinkler preset. So they were adding a different schedule up to the point that they had 4 sprinkler schedules set, meaning their sprinklers were running for about 80 minutes per zone times 6 zones per day, meaning that they used 60,000 gallons of water in one single month. 60,000. And so that explains their very large water bill. So I had to have a conversation with them that I know that you're well-intentioned. There's a reason that I hire professionals to come out and deal with these things. And please don't touch the sprinkler system control panel anymore. I know it's tempting. Don't do it. Just don't do it. So they agreed. I had the county actually come back out and confirm everything again, that there were no leaks. I had the county check their current water usage, and they have used 2,000 gallons of water for this entire month so far. We are almost 3 weeks into the month. So anyway, another lesson that I thought was a more complicated, more serious issue when I should have just started with the simplest issue, which was tenants changing the sprinkler settings. So again, things are not always as they seem. It's a crazy world and we're just living in it and we're all learning as we go along. So those are my 2 tenant stories for this episode of Tenant Tales. I hope that has been beneficial to you. If it hasn't made you laugh, I hope you have at least learned something right along with me. Now, if you're a real estate investor, property manager, or landlord, I'm sure that you have plenty of your own tenant tales, and I would love to hear those. So feel free to drop those in the comments down below. As always, feel free to follow me on my social channels right here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.